Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications. Today I wanted to touch briefly about a term I used in a previous video, the Son of Man. I said that at the end of reading that article, it was written by Benjamin Creme's master. And I wanted to talk briefly about it because I could talk to you about it for hours, maybe even days, I don't know. And I want to kind of spare you that torture, so I'll just talk to you about it for a few minutes, and then we'll talk about it again in further videos. But I wanted to introduce that concept, the concept of the masters, to you by, talking about I think the two greatest myths that have enthralled humanity for centuries. The first one is that what a person is the physical body, and that's it. That all we are the organs, the body, the bones, the muscles, the tissue, and then within our head is the brain, right? And you got the electrical charges going off in the head, and that's pretty much what is experiencing life, is those electrical charges. And when you die, those electrical charges stop, your heart stops, you stop breathing, the doctor declares you dead, and that's pretty much the end of the game for you. Well, that's a myth. Who we are is a lot more than that. We're an immortal being called that I call the soul, that the masters call the soul. And the only difference between you and I and the masters of wisdom is the level of manifestation of that divinity. That they can manifest it perfectly where you and I aren't manifesting it perfectly yet. We might at certain moments in our life, but for the most part we're not. And interesting side note is that Benjamin Creme's master predicted that in the very near future, not too far away, I don't know how long, but there will be a scientist in France, man or woman, I don't know, that will discover scientifically the existence of the human soul. And that one discovery, which I think will probably be the greatest discovery of all time, will change every matter of human existence. And the other myth out there, or the other myth running, is the fact that humanity is at the top of the evolutionary ladder. That you got the plant, or you got the mineral kingdom, and then above that you have the vegetable or plant kingdom, and then you have the animal kingdom, and then there's us, and that's pretty much it. That's the end of it, right? We're the top. Well, that is a myth, because it's not true. What's above humanity, the next level up from us, is the kingdom of souls, the kingdom of heaven, the hierarchy, the masters of wisdom. That unbeknownst to the vast majority of humanity, we're moving into that kingdom. And it always kind of baffled my mind why, I live in the southern part of the United States, which debates creationism versus evolution. And it always kind of blows my mind, because if you look at even just the animal kingdom, for instance, right, you have different levels of manifestation of divinity within the animal kingdom. You got slugs, you got insects, right? They're not very evolved for animals. They're kind of the lowest level of animals. And then you have higher animals like cats or dogs that have a little bit of a personality, can emote, can be trained, that respond to human thought, or can be potty trained, for instance, right? And there's a difference between the two of them. Well, the only difference between a cat or a dog and a slug is the manifestation of the divinity of that animal. Well, if you look at us as people, right, you got different levels of that same manifestation of divinity. You have people like Leonardo da Vinci or Jesus or Moses or the Buddha. Well, they were manifesting divinity higher than, let's say, average humanity or Jack the Ripper or O.J. Simpson. They just are. That's what made them different. That's what allowed them to do what they could do. But it doesn't mean that Mozart is any better than you or I, or Jesus is any better than you or myself. It's just that he manifested his divinity at a greater level than you or I are doing at this moment in time. But Jesus himself said in the Bible, John 14, verse 12, greater things than this shall you do yourself. He was touching on the fact that we're all evolving to his level, and then eventually we'll be even beyond his level, I think. That's my interpretation of that. I know you might have a different one, but anyway, so I wanted to kind of touch on it. Now, all the masters are, and that's kind of a understatement, but they are manifesting perfectly the divinity within themselves, moment to moment, without exception. They're not masters over you and I, but they can manifest that soul's divinity. They've mastered what it is to be a soul, where you and I haven't mastered that yet. The masters like Jesus, like the Buddha, like Maitreya, are starting to come out in the world, and I'm going to talk about that in a different video. But for now, I just wanted to kind of introduce you to the concept of what a master is. So thank you for letting me share. Thanks for letting me share my side of the story, and thanks for taking the time to listen to it. Hopefully, you listened to it all the way to the end. And I look forward to talking to you again in future videos. Have a great day.